Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Hey, you guys, welcome back to the show this week. We're doing another different one, and I'm really excited if you decided to hit play because a lot of times when a creator does a mindset piece and they don't usually talk about mindset, it gets skipped over. So I'm super excited for you because you're just going to get to hear us talk like two friends near the fireside today. And those are sometimes my favorite, and I get the best responses from y'all. So let me give you a quick update. I need you to know that we made an offer on our dream farm. Our house is on the market. Hopefully by the time you're hearing this, it's under contract. I'm believing that. But it's on the market and it's looking great. And we're having lots of showings. It's utter chaos. If any of you have had small children and pets and had a contingency sale with your house on the market doing showings, I need you to know that I see you and it's utter. People don't know. It's utter insanity. My toddler, I almost took a picture to put on Instagram today because I had his room perfect. And within less than 5 minutes, he had destroyed it all over again as we were getting ready for nap time. So just the struggle is real. But we put an offer in on our farm and it was accepted and it's all looking really, really good. So stay tuned. Those of you who've been following along with our process, things are getting real and I've gotten quieter on all the socials because we're doing all the moving things, but everything is good. I'll keep you posted. Today, I have one of your very favorite people back on the podcast, Jenny from the shop, who is one of our print-on-demand girls. She's one of the most precious humans on the planet, and I enjoy talking to her. She and I talk very regularly, and we in particular love to geek out about the mindset stuff. We've been saying for over a year now, we wanted to do an episode for you guys on this topic. So that's what we are doing today, and I'm so excited to share it with y'all. Let me give you her little bio in case you are new here or you need a refresher. After replacing her teaching salary by selling print-on-demand t-shirts on Etsy, Jenny of Jenny from the Shop is now living part of the year in Greece with her family and enjoying time and financial freedom that a corporate job simply can't offer. She's continuing to run her Etsy shop no matter where in the world she finds herself, and she teaches print-on-demand tips on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. She's really killing it on YouTube. She's kind of gone hard on it this year like I said I would, and I will once we move because I can't do it all. But she's really killing it. Her TikTok is always amazing. So if you don't follow her, Jenny from the Shop, it's 2 P's on the end of shop. You'll really enjoy that. We're going to have a great mindset conversation on our own kind of thoughts and musings and journey through mindset growth and how it's helped us with business. And also linked in the show notes are going to be all the previous episodes she was on and her print-on-demand courses. She has like a beginner click-by-click course, which is very affordable if you're on a budget and you need help setting up your print-on-demand Etsy shop. And then she also has a design teaching shop, which is very cool because she uses GoDaddy Studio, which is different than the others who usually train in Canva or Illustrator or something like that. And I just love that she has a variation to share with you. And she's an excellent designer. But like Jenny was a kindergarten teacher for 8 years. So she knows how to teach. And that's what I really love about her courses in particular. She makes it so easy and understandable. So all of that just to put in the back, because this isn't a podcast episode where we are really talking about what's in a course. We are talking mindset. So sit back, get comfortable, grab your favorite drink, and join us by the fireside. Please help me welcome Jenny to the podcast. Yay! Jenny, welcome back to the show. I know I just like hit record on you without your okay.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm here.
Y'all, we were just like sitting back there in the green room chatting, and I'm like, you realize we need to just go. We need to go.
Seriously, we could talk for hours.
Exactly. But this is such a geek out episode for us, you guys. So like, this is going to be if you hit play, just stick around because it's going to be fire, but it's going to be totally different. We have like topics we want to cover, but no formal questions. We're just going to like chat together and with you. We only just wish you could pull up a chair and be a part of this because this is like our favorite topic. So Jenny, just because there are so many new listeners on the podcast right now, give a short like replay of your story with print on demand. And I will link your previous episodes so that people can listen into that. But like your story, and then get us into like the mindset topic. Like I'd love for you to weave into your story, like what role mindset has played in your success, in your opinion.
Okay, cool. Well, I want to say thank you for having me again and again and again and again. Your podcast has literally become a second home to me. It feels like it's just comfy being here. So thank you. And I love all your followers. Every time I'm on, I get the sweetest emails and messages. So thank you to everybody who's listening. You have the best community. You really do.
Thank you. I love you so much.
I love you too. And to anyone, like most people listening have probably heard my story before on your podcast, so I'll kind of keep it short. And if they want to hear the whole thing, they can go back to previous ones so we can get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast. But so basically, I was a kindergarten teacher for 8 years, and I had my daughter at year 7 of that, 6 or 7 of that. And at that moment when I had my daughter, I was feeling very drained at my teaching position. I just felt like there was no time to spend with my family. I was exhausted emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, everything. And it just didn't sit with me right anymore. I didn't feel aligned with that career anymore. I was once passionate about it, but I literally just felt like a shell of a body going into work every day. And I was just like, this is no way to live. So those thoughts started happening pretty frequently. And around the same time, my husband and I, we had always gone to Greece every summer for the past like 11 years now. And towards the end of the summer, I would get like the huge Sunday scaries, but the end of summer scaries to go back to school, to go back to work. I remember laying under this umbrella on the beach. It's still there. I lay under it still, and I can't believe this is my life. But I remember laying there just thinking like, there's got to be another way. There's got to be a way that we can travel more or live here and not have to go to a job and just be free and spend all the time with our family, because we got a taste of that freedom every summer since I was a teacher and I had off over the summers. I wanted that to be my whole life. And my husband really, really wanted to move to Greece at the time. So I said, okay, the only way I'm moving to Greece is if I figure out a way to make money online so that we can live in Greece and then go back to the States whenever we want to visit family, yada, yada. So that was what kind of like formed my why at that moment. So I went back to that school year, but I like hit the ground running. I wrote a children's book. I thought that was going to be my way out. I published it on Amazon. That was not my way out, but that is what brought me to learning about Etsy and print on demand. I was researching how to like advertise my book on Amazon, and I stumbled across videos about a t-shirt business and like starting a t-shirt business on Etsy. So I jumped right into that, and I quickly found out that you could do it through print on demand, which my mind was blown. I was like, well, then I wouldn't have any inventory, and then we really could move to Greece. If I get this rolling, we'll have t-shirt businesses in Greece. And it sounded so crazy at the time. I felt so crazy, but I was like, I just saw the opportunity, and I'm like, I think this could be it. Screw the book. I think this is it that fast. So I just jumped into Etsy print on demand. And then within that next year, literally a year later, I was able to quit my teaching position. And then the following year, we moved to Greece. So it just happened so quickly, and I still can't really believe it. It's been a few years now, and like I still wake up every day. I'm so grateful. I can't believe that I actually made it happen. And like you said, what was the mindset piece of it? Honestly, mindset, I want to say, is 90% of my success. And a lot of people don't really want to, they don't really want to learn about the mindset piece or talk about the mindset piece, but it is so crucial in so many areas. Like it literally was 90% of my success. If I didn't have that strong foundation, there were so many times that I would have quit. And still with projects that I'm working on, there's so many times that I want to quit, but I keep going and I find success in other areas too. And it's always come back to my mindset. So that's why we're here today, to teach others more about having a stronger mindset.
Okay, this has always blown my mind.
Sorry,
Ever since
I was
you did exactly what you were supposed to do. Like perfect intro, and like more of the business stuff is on your other episodes. But
yeah,
I think it's really interesting. So like fun fact for everyone, whenever we publish, like people who are in like the e-commerce realm and we podcast or we YouTube or whatever, everyone wants the tactical episodes of like how I made $7 million in 2 minutes on whatever, like that kind of stuff. And I get it. Like I click on that stuff too.
yeah.
But when someone shares something like this episode will probably be one of my like least downloaded episodes because of the topic.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like I geek out about it, Jenny. Like this is what you and I are always talking about is like this is ever since I was little, I was interested in human psychology and sociology and what makes the world work. And like there's clearly bigger power at play. Like we're not as helpless as we like and wretched as we think we are.
Yeah.
Why do you think that so many people hit skip on the mindset stuff? Like what is that? I can't get my brain around it.
I think I'm not really sure, but I think people want like X plus X equals like X. I don't know. Like they want like an exact formula, which, of course there's, let's talk about Etsy. You need to know certain things to be successful with Etsy, with listing and SEO and all that kind of stuff. Like, yes, you do need to know those types of formulas, but if you don't have that strong piece of mindset, see, the thing is when you start an Etsy shop or when you start any business, you're not going to be successful overnight. And people oftentimes think that they will be, or maybe not overnight, maybe in a month or maybe in 3 months, and they're still not successful. So they quit if they don't have a strong mindset. Like, no, I see this opportunity. I'm going to run with this. I see other people that are just like me who are successful with this. Why not me? So let me learn the formula, the X plus X equals X. Let me learn the listing formula, the SEO and all that, but let me have a strong mindset to keep me going when I don't see those sales coming in right away. Like do you know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense?
I completely know what you're saying. And I'm actually like, I'm having a moment because I literally just did. Now, granted, my life's complicated right now between like businesses I run, we're moving. There's like so much happening right now. But I literally just set aside something that I didn't give enough time because I wasn't using the mindset element so I'm just having like a moment of realization. You know what I will say, like in having empathy for people who shy away from it, I think, and my husband and I overcame a lot because we had to save our marriage years ago. We'd had infidelity issues and like massive, like earth shattering stuff. And I think that was the first time when someone started talking to me about who I needed to become versus what tools I needed to fix it, started making sense and started becoming okay, because I'm just like, clearly the marriage seminars and books and things that I've already done didn't work because we're here. And we could argue all day long about, but Lizzie, it's not your fault that such and such happened. And no, I can't control someone else's actions, but I can control the energy that I bring to my relationships. Yeah. And if I don't, and all the couples that we've worked with since then, I'm always telling them, I'm like, this isn't your fault. But if you don't find a place of accountability in bringing more health to your own relationship, you're going to lose it no matter how repentant the other person is. Like there's just this element in anything in life where we have to look in the mirror. Even if you're in an abusive situation and it's wow, I really shouldn't have chosen this person in the first place. I need to get out. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to box anybody in. I always want to be careful about that. But it's this part where we get sidelined by the like how big the mountain is that we have to climb to overcome in the mindset piece.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, one of the things we had on here to talk about, it's a little out of order, but and we've sort of already touched on it. It's the becoming. So like, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. It's not just like mindset. Oh, you need to have a positive attitude. It's this, to me, it's this idea of you need to become the person who can make X amount of money in an e-commerce business, or who can, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So talk about that a little bit if you feel up to it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that it comes down to, you need to be open to these new ideas, right? If you're somebody who's interested in, let's say, Etsy or print on demand, you're interested in that. Like, okay, so you're going to step into it and you're going to give it your all. If you're interested in that, you're here for a reason. You're learning about this for a reason. So, give yourself the benefit of the doubt to work hard for 6 months to a year on it. Focus, lean into it. I feel like it's stepping into the opportunity plus action, like seeing the vision, taking action, having belief in yourself, and patience and consistency. So I probably sound like I'm rambling, but literally all those things need to add up to be successful. Like, you need to, one, lean into the opportunity, have belief in yourself, take action, be consistent, have patience. Did I say have belief? All those things.
Yeah.
It's like a mix.
And you're not that person right now where you'd already have it. So that's the sticky part, right?
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah. You should see her face. The dead ass. Oh, sorry. The
It's hard. It's really hard. And that's the thing too. Like, that's why it's kind of difficult for me to fully explain it. I'm going to try my best to explain all of this to you guys, but it's hard for me to explain it because it's hard for me to still do these things with even new opportunities. But because I've been successful in a few areas, I know that it's possible to be successful at anything that you put your mind to. If someone else is successful at it, like, why not you? You can be successful if you want it. You need to take action, and you need to believe in yourself and be consistent and keep learning and fail and get up and keep going and fail again and get up and keep going. Just like a baby learning to walk, they fall, they get up again, and they learn to walk eventually, God willing. But, so I don't know. I don't know if that really answered your question.
No, here's the thing. I don't think there are answers. I think it's helpful to hear how someone else processes it. I see this all the time with like emails I get. I don't know about you, Jenny, you probably comments on TikTok too, where people like started 2 weeks ago and they've got their first 10 listings up and they are exasperated that they're not getting views and sales.
Yeah.
And when that happens, I kind of go, oh,
yeah,
like, oof, because you have to be okay for this to work genuinely. I don't care if you came in. We all are coming with different skills. So yeah, if you've been a graphic designer for 10 years, you have an advantage over someone who's never opened up Canva before or whatever.
Mm.
But you have to be okay with spending the time to put things up, have them not work, have to start all over again.
Yeah.
You have to have the time and staying power. And if you don't, that's a really good indication that mindset, like I would even push pause on the Etsy shop. If you need to make extra money, go drive for DoorDash or Uber Eats and listen to mindset podcasts for 3 to 6 months and adjust your expectations, because it's just, I can't help you fix. I can show you the demand, SEO, and or design quality reasons why your 10 listings aren't, and I'm going to be as gentle as I can without telling you these are never going to sell.
Well, okay. I always say, like with Etsy and print on demand, I always say your first 100 listings are probably gonna, I don't want to, like, in case there's little ears, SUCK. Your first 100 listings probably aren't going to be good, but those first 100 listings that's going to be what makes you good eventually. Like, you basically have to start messy. When I look back at my beginning listings, like I tell you all the time, I laugh. Like, I thought they were great. They were horrendous
Yes.
And now I
Same.
understand though, like that's okay. I needed to be messy and I needed to just jump in. And my first 100 listings were probably really bad, but I learned along the way from all that practicing. And most of those probably didn't sell. Only a handful of those beginning ones sold, you know? You have to jump in messy and learn that way. And the other thing is, I'm about to get off on a tangent.
Good.
Okay, so let's take a look at, this is my flower analogy. Remember I was telling you this about before?
Oh, I love it.
Okay,
Yes.
so let's say Etsy is the seed. Okay, somebody hands you a seed and it's Etsy. You're just hearing, oh, I can make money on Etsy. Wow, that's really cool. Here's the seed. Okay, you take it. Now you're going to take that seed and you're going to plant it in some soil. Okay, and then you're going to go to bed. And that's like you just started your Etsy shop. You opened it up. It's open. You put your first listing in and then you go to bed. That's you planting the seed. And then you go to bed and you wake up and you come outside the next morning and the flower didn't grow yet. And you're like, oh, but they said I'd make money on Etsy. I opened the shop. I put my listing up and it didn't sell. Like, what's going on here? You're not going to walk outside that next day and see that the flower didn't grow yet because it's not supposed to grow yet. You have to tend to it each day. You have to put it, there's certain requirements for a plant to grow, right? It needs to be in the sunlight. It needs soil. It needs to be watered consistently every day. Just like your brand new Etsy shop. It's not going to turn into a flower overnight. You need to add listings. You need to practice your designs. You need to like keep up with your mindset. Like we're talking, you need to be in your shop every single day. You need to be listening to YouTubers or podcasters and learning about how to grow a garden, basically how to do your Etsy shop. And over time, the more consistent you are in your shop and the more consistent you are with watering a flower and making sure it's in the sunlight, it's going to sprout. You're going to walk out one morning, there's going to be a little sprout, and that's going to be your first Etsy sale. And you're going to be like, whoa, this is happening. This really works. And you're going to have that glimmer of hope. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not good at gardening. So I do get very excited. If I had a flower sprout, I would be very excited. And I remember that first sale, how exciting that was, where you're just like, whoa, this is possible. Like somebody in a house, like miles and miles and miles away from me was on their little device and they liked my little product and they bought it. Like what? So that gives you that hope to keep watering that flower, to keep listing in your Etsy shop. And, you know, I'm not going to go on and on and on, but then someday you wake up and you have a beautiful garden and a beautiful Etsy shop with an abundance of sales. So that's my little analogy. You're not going to like go out and like yell at the flower for not growing. So like stop being so hard on yourself. Just, you know, with the right tools, you know, you have the water, the sunlight, the soil. With the right tools, that plant is going to grow as long as you continue to be consistent and have belief in it. It's going to grow. Just like your Etsy shop, if you have the right tools, you're actively learning, you're actively in your shop, you're consistent, it's going to grow. It, you know, does that make sense?
Yes. If all the components are there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You had mentioned last time when we talked about the grind and the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Can we, because I feel like that's the part maybe that we don't like the unknown.
No. The grind and the unknown. Yeah. So basically, I'm trying to bring myself back to when I was in it. And it's tough because you're grinding hard and you want to be successful so badly. And you're not exactly sure if you're going to be successful. I remember being in that like desperate energy.
The desperate energy, because, and that's the worst part. You're like, this still happens to me, you guys. I have to push myself through it all the time, where it's just like, I just put in so much time, effort, and sometimes money And
Yeah.
it is not
Yeah.
working.
It's the worst feeling.
The unknown. And like, I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if I need I don't know if I need to scrap this. I don't know. It's the unknown and the idea of I'm going to take more time away from my family or what I love,
Yes.
take more of our resources, mostly my time, to continue to push this. And this unknown for me. So, I mean, talk more about that. And then like,
Yeah.
what's on the other side of that and how do we push through it? And I'd love to hear like your own story. If you can kind of remember where some of this mindset stuff helped you break through.
Yeah. So one, I want to touch on like all the thoughts that you just said, how you were like, is
Yes.
this going to work? Is it going to take time from my family? You know, I'm spending all this money. I'm spending all this time. All those thoughts right there, that's the voice inside your head, you know? And there is a study though that some people don't have a voice inside their head. Did you know this? This is so
Yeah.
like, this
It's
is so
attached
like,
to ADHD, right?
yeah, I think so. But my voice doesn't stop. I don't know. But it does not stop inside my head. But there are some people that don't have a voice inside their head. That's okay. Actually, that sounds very peaceful. So if you're one of those people, you might not understand like where I'm going with this, but most people have a voice inside their head. Okay, anyways.
Yeah, the what ifs.
Yeah. So yeah, like, okay, is this going to work? You know, all your thoughts, the voice inside your head. Sometimes we need to literally like have a conversation with ourselves inside our heads and like tell that voice to chill. Because all those thoughts are what is going to like make you hesitant in moving forward. And it's hard. I have these thoughts daily. I have like not negative thoughts, but I have those same thoughts that you have with certain projects that I'm working on. Like, is this worth my time? Am I going to be successful with this? Blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And it's like, they're all just thoughts, like just chill, you know, like, and try to turn, like, get rid of those thoughts and maybe like substitute it with an affirmation. Like I can
Hang on, Jenny. You just said they're all just thoughts. What does that mean? That's a big deal right there. Yeah. What do you mean they're all just thoughts?
It's just thoughts. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have anything to do with your success. If you're successful or not successful, they're just taking up space in your brain. So you need to substitute it with like an affirmation that's like, when you hear those thoughts rambling in your head, you need to like stop. Like literally you could be like, just tell yourself to stop inside your head so people don't look at you when you're like walking down the street. And substitute it with an affirmation like, I can do hard things. I can do this. I'm meant to be doing this. Substitute it with something or distract yourself. And because those thoughts, that voice inside your head, that noise will block your success.
Are you ready to start building your social media presence to help market your Etsy products, but not quite sure where to start? I am so excited to tell you guys about the social media membership that I'm a part of called Julie's Biz Boutique. My friend, Julie Oxendine, started out selling wreaths on Etsy and has built a monster of a social media presence of over 1 million followers who buy her products, her tutorials, and her courses. She is the queen of Etsy social media coaches, and I cannot recommend her more highly. She's also so relatable and genuinely interested in helping you grow, which is just my kind of gal. Her monthly membership will keep you up to date on how to best leverage all of the platforms with their ever-changing algorithms and connect you with a wonderful community of like-minded makers. As a member, you will also get immediate access to Julie's library of over 100 training videos on everything from Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Etsy, and even more. I could keep going on. It's the best bang for your buck that you can get to learn so much about social media and find the inspiration and help you need to start growing your following. Fun little secret too, I got to plug this in. Julie's membership only opens to the public for new members a couple times a year, but since she loves us so much, we get special treatment and you can join us right now. So just go to howtosellyourstuff.com/Julie to learn more and get enrolled today. Once again, that is howtosellyourstuff.com/Julie. And I can't wait to hang out with you there. You know, Jenny, I used to, when I was younger, a long time ago now, 10 years plus, I used to think that if I had a thought, it was true on some level because it was connected to my intuition. I'm like, if I'm having this thought, then something is trying to warn me that this is true. And I I'm hoping this part of the conversation is going to set some people free, because I didn't realize how damaging that was and how wrong that was.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have a thought does not mean it's true. In fact,
No.
if you have two conflicting thoughts, one of them has to be false. And that's all we do all day long, is have conflicting thoughts.
Yeah.
So I also think that, I know for me, I rendered myself so powerless, A, by that belief, and B, by thinking that there was just some master plan that was going to unfold for me that I had no control over whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I just had to be in this frantic, desperate fear, because I didn't know what God was going to serve up to me next. And in my case, I know we come into this from a different approach. Mine is very biblical and also science. And then, you come more from like a manifestation background, but it's so amazing because it all overlays each other
for sure.
perfectly every time, pretty much. And so I had to learn, and I actually have a scripture for what you just said about the affirmations too, that I want to make sure I throw out for my fellow believers out there. I learned that God wants to co-create with me. And while there are certain things he's hoping and has made me for, he is delighted by my expression of it, so long as I'm staying congruent with him and his heart for me. So it is not, I don't believe that everything is just predestined. And now the science has been so interesting. I like to read some of Dr. Joe Dispenza's stuff because he's got so much science.
Yeah.
Literally, the way our brains are wired can be adjusted and changed by how we choose to think, which is why some people have what seems to be the Midas touch, and everything they touch turns to gold, and other people live a life of just downward spiral.
Yeah.
So anyway, I won't go too far unless you want to extrapolate any of that, but just to throw that, and then I'm going to add the scripture about your comment about you replace it with an affirmation. There's this scripture that says, when a spirit goes out of a man, meaning when we cast a demon out, it goes out and finds the dry places, searching for rest, and it finds none. So in this case, we've kicked the bad thought out and we've sent it packing. It goes out to find rest now that it's been removed from its home and finds none. And so it comes back to its prior home and finds it clean, swept, and empty. Empty, and then brings with it 7 spirits more disgusting and worse than itself. So when we just kick something out, whether it's biblically a demon, a negative thought, a bad habit, and we don't replace it with something fruitful, helpful, edifying, that thing will come back to the empty space. The clean part's great. It's the empty part that's a problem. Yeah. And that's where I'm going to hand it back to you, because that's where you put the affirmation in place, or you put the scripture in place, or you put it's amazing how all of it lines up with the word of God.
For sure.
So yeah, isn't that amazing though? Clean, slept, and empty, and brings with it seven spirits more vile than itself. And so instead we put in the affirmation in that place, so there's nowhere for it to come back to.
Yes. Wow. That's powerful.
I think so. It gets me. I got chills.
That's cool. Oh my God, me too. That's amazing. But yeah, getting rid of those negative thoughts. But can you repeat your question right before that? Because you had all those thoughts, and that's what got me onto that tangent.
Oh gosh, was it about the grind and the unknown? The unknown.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't even, now that, I'm trying to go back to like previous Jenny, because now that I've become successful in different areas, I am not scared of the unknown, because I have more of a knowing of how
you trust yourself.
Yeah. And I have more of a knowing of how possible things are if you just, you have the vision and the action and the belief and the patience and the consistency that we talked about earlier. I know that over time, if I continue to do all those things, and if I really, really want it, I can make it happen. So I'm more in a knowing now. But let me think back to previous Jenny. So basically, I was in that desperate energy because I just so badly wanted to quit my teaching position and be with my family. And I was like so desperate for it to happen like now, right away. And I remember many times like crying about it and just thinking that it wasn't going to happen, which is, it sounds so ridiculous now when I think about that, but I don't know. And maybe all that needed to happen. Maybe I needed to be so passionate and upset and emotional about it for it to actually happen. I don't want to say that it's a bad thing if you're feeling desperate energy, because that was a part of my story. So maybe this is to let you know it's okay to have these feelings. But now that I'm on the other side of it, to try to get yourself to be in the know that if you have good intentions and you take these actions and you continue to learn and, give it your all, that eventually over time things will work out for you. And maybe it's not Etsy. Ugh, I don't want to say that, but
no, for real.
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that, but hear me out for a second. You're here for a reason. You're learning about Etsy. If you're listening to Lizzie's podcast, you're here because you're learning about Etsy, right? So either you're going to become successful with Etsy, or Etsy is the door that opens up another door for you. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Because let's think back to previous Jenny, when I thought that my children's book was going to be what changed my life. Well, guess what? I only made a couple sales on that book to family and friends, but it did change my life. If I didn't write that book, I wouldn't have found Etsy and print on demand, because I was researching how to advertise my Amazon book. So this is another point where you need to be open-minded. You need to be open to opportunities. You need to have your eyes open. Don't be so stuck on, okay, like have your why in mind, right? Going back, my why was, sorry, we're jumping all over the place, but this is the mood of the podcast. But my why was like financial freedom and time freedom to live with my family wherever I want, whenever I want, watch my kids grow up, blah, blah, blah. My why was so strong. So having that why, have that be your destination, not my Etsy store is going to be my destination. My successful Etsy store is going to be my destination. No, your why needs to be what you're working towards, not a successful Etsy store, because you might be blocking your vision for other opportunities that are coming to you. Now, I pray that you are all successful on Etsy. I believe in all of you. If you want to be successful on Etsy, you can, but just be open to other opportunities that might come your way as you're researching about Etsy. You might learn about something else that might be the thing that gets you to your why. But I do want to say, be careful with shiny object syndrome, because there's so many ways to make money out there these days and they all sound great, so it's hard. You need to, go with your intuition. Like, does this feel right? Am I excited about it? Am I excited about the journey? I used to have so much fun when I wasn't making that many sales, designing. Like, I literally would get adrenaline, like making designs for my products. Like, I would play music loudly and get in the zone and kind of be like childlike with it and not be so stressed about it. So like, make sure that you're having fun during the grind, and just kind of know, like, if you continue to do those steps that I was saying, the action, the patience, the belief, consistency, that over time it should pay off for you.
It's the time.
I'm literally just like rambling in so many different directions. I hope that all this helps.
It's all connected.
Yeah, there's no like specific formula. It's just strengthening this belief and patience and knowing.
When you were in that struggle phase, the crying, the desperation, when did mindset become a part of your approach, or how did it?
Mindset has actually always been a part of who I am. Like, even before I had any businesses, I really enjoyed like mindset podcasts and self-help books for some reason. So it's always just been a part of who I am. I remember like reading a business mindset book before I even ever thought about starting any sort of business. And I was like, I loved it for some reason. And I was like, I forget what it was. And I was just like, man, I wish I could think of a business. Like, this sounds fun. I don't know. I've just always, for some reason, been intrigued by like mindset. But so it's always been a part of me. But and I think that's what helped, like from the very start. Like I canceled out my noise in my head and the noise of others. Because I've always been the type of person that would like allow others' opinions like get in the way of what I was actually aligned with for whatever reason. Not really sure, but I've grown from that, and I've learned to, like with my Etsy shop, was like probably one of the first times that I was like, I'm not telling anybody that I'm doing this, because I knew that I would allow the voices of others get in the way. Like, oh, you think you're going to be able to quit your teaching position from an Etsy shop? Like all these voices that I thought if I told people like things that they would say those types of things, like, oh, how's your little Etsy shop going? We all get those little comments. But so I just chose to not even tell anybody that I was starting an Etsy shop. So that really helped. And then I had to get good at canceling out the noise in my own head, like telling me like, you're not going to be able to do this, basically. Like, are you serious? You're really spending all this time? Like, you have to cancel out your own noise and the noise of others.
For me, I'll even get to points where, because in the very beginning of a project, the other success stories are major fuel for me. I get so excited.
Yes.
But then when I'm in that kind of dark stage, like where things aren't happening as fast as I want them to, or I'm questioning if I made the right choice or all of that, all of a sudden I'll sometimes, and I'm someone who like always celebrates other people's success, but I'll just start to be like, I can't listen to this anymore because something clearly must be wrong with me. I don't understand why they can do it and I can't. And so you almost have to shift. So if anyone's experiencing that right now, you almost have to shift and instead listen to mindset stuff instead of the testimonials. Like there's a time and a place for both. And you have to kind of listen to, is this feeding me hope, or is this creating more judgment? Because we have to switch on our brain in a certain way. And if you're desperate, you're in a survival, critical mindset. And when you're in gratitude and you're open, you're in a receiving, creative mindset. Yeah. So you can actually be counterproductive to yourself if you're continuing to allow your brain to stay in the really negative space. I used to think that was helpful because I'm like, oh, I'm being like my own coach. I'm like pushing myself. But when it comes to matters of creativity, that's actually super counter. You're better off to go outside and take a walk, go do something that makes you laugh, and then come back to it.
For sure. I totally agree with you. I think I was really good at taking a look at other people's success. And like I said before, saying like, okay, if they can do it, why not me? I feel that I am very good at doing that. I have that mindset with like anything I put my mind to. Yes. I can totally see how, if you're not super strong with that, like how that can make you feel like you're lacking in certain areas. Like they say, comparison is the thief of joy, Yes. It can be very easy to compare yourself. Well, they started their shop like after me and they're more successful. I must be doing something wrong. And, maybe there are some things that you're doing wrong. Like maybe sometimes you take that and say, okay, well, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And maybe learn from that. But like Lizzie said, like sometimes it's best to just step away from your competitors or what other shops are doing or what influencers or testimonials you're seeing, and go more within and, start comparing with your own self, your own journey from where you started, see where you are now and how hard you've worked, and be proud of the effort that you've put in. Kind of compare yourself from your beginning steps to where you are now.
Yeah, I just think like we all have to pay attention to, at the end of the day, there's no exact formula, sorry. Yeah. But what I will say is that for me, the key is about what is my internal energy like? and what are the tools that work to shift it. And like there are certain podcasters, Gary Vee will shift my energy in 2.5 milliseconds.
Same.
You know what I mean?
Him. Yeah.
Yes. Doing a meditation will shift maybe in 20 minutes, will completely shift me if I'm in a really bad spot. But I think the key is that all of us need to be really self-aware about what energy are we living in. Is it survival? Is it desperation? Is it unworthiness? Is it shame? And the first thing we need to do before we try to create is work on shifting that first with whatever tools work.
For sure.
Which kind of brings us to the next one, which is to stay hungry and to celebrate small wins was another thing that I thought was brilliant to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Lizzie and I were having a conversation recently because I just started a YouTube channel. So whenever I start a new project, I immediately go back to the time when I started my Etsy shop. And I'm like, I can remember that like desperate energy time and what we're about to talk about now. So this is great because this just happened recently. So, I started my YouTube channel and I was like, had the thoughts like everybody else does, starting anything new, like, is this going to work? Am I going to be successful with this? And I immediately told myself to stop having those thoughts. Like, I have proven success when I put my intentions on something and do all those action steps, like I said. So I started putting up videos, and like recently when Lizzie and I had our conversation like a month ago, I hit 5,000 subscribers. And I was like, I had been working, I make little goals as I go. Same with my Etsy shop. Like, it's like, oh, I want to get that first sale. I want to get to 100 sales. Then you get to 100 sales. Oh, I want to get to 500 sales. Oh, I got to 500 sales. Oh, I want to get to 1,000 sales. Oh, I got to one. Oh, I want to get, and I was brought back to those feelings in my Etsy shop when I hit the 5,000 subs on YouTube. I was like, okay, cool. I made it to 5,000. Now I want to get to 10,000. So basically, like, this is good and bad. Like, I don't know if I can explain this correctly. Like, basically, like, I'm happy and proud of myself for making my first goal. And I sit with that for a little bit and I'm like, oh, good job, Jenny. You made it to 5,000 subs. Like, great job. But then very quickly I'm like, all right, let's go to 10, So, which I'm not sure if that's super healthy or not.
No, you're staying hungry. You're staying hungry. I mean, as long as you're celebrating your win, right? You're not beating yourself up. Right. I think it's all about how you talk to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's how I was with my Etsy shop. Like I said, I would make those little goals, like 100 sales, 500 sales, and you just keep going. But you sit with that accomplishment for a little bit and be proud of yourself. Yeah, but then just keep going and just know, like, okay, if you have 100 sales in your Etsy shop, like, why not 10,000 sales? Why not 20,000 sales? No, I'm not kidding, Lizzie.
I know you're not.
Why not? If you could do 100 sales, why not? Like, you're doing something right if you have 100 sales. Like, and I'm doing something right if I have 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, but I'm not sitting on my phone like, why aren't the subs coming in? Like, I just know if I continue to do the same work that I'm doing and continue to learn and grow from, what I'm doing, that eventually I will get to that 100,000 subscribers, And like, same thing with your Etsy shop. Like, when I was starting, like, you hit 1,000 sales and you're like, okay, sky's the limit. Like, 1,000 people bought my stuff. Why not? You know what I mean? Like, yes. And it's just a matter of time at that point and continuing to be consistent and learning and growing. Like, sky's the limit, guys. Like, but it's up to you to continue to put in that effort and grow. And I don't know, but also, like, don't burn yourself out too. I feel like I'm
so bad about that. I'm so bad about that.
Because, like, okay, sky's the limit. So this is where, like, I want to do a video soon about like 10 things that I did wrong with Etsy print on demand. And one of the things I'll tell you now is, when I saw that I was making money from this, I went crazy. And And some of you that know me, like I was doing 50 listings a day.
Oh my gosh, really?
Outrageous.
Like when you were still teaching or when you were full-time
Still
already?
teaching.
No way.
Yes. I was sleeping about 3 hours a night that first year.
Ugh.
So I feel like I burnt myself out. Like there was no reason. Like the sales were coming in, but I just like saw that it was like, I don't know. I just felt like the more I do, the more I do, the more I get, the more I get. And like, now taking a seat back, I'm like, I list, now that my shops are rolling, like I only list like 5 to 10 listings a month, especially too, because, I'm working on all these other projects as well.
Right.
But I see now that like quality is better than quantity. Like a lot of those listings, the 50 listings that I would put up, probably half of them would sell, another half wouldn't, because I was just not so focused on quality. I was like burning myself out, just like go, go, go. And you got to be careful with that. Like I don't, what I'm saying? Like I want you to shoot, like to go for it, but also be careful with burnout. Like same thing with my YouTube. I could be putting up a video a day on YouTube and then I'd grow much faster, but I know that would burn me out. Yeah. I'm not going to do that. So now I'm just doing like one a week, and I know that I will continue to grow with time and consistency and effort. I never know what the initial question was because I feel like
it doesn't matter. It was just to talk about staying hungry, which you've literally nailed. I'm actually really glad you brought that all up though, because kind of one of the controversies in like in the Etsy and print on demand space that I have kind of been wanting the opportunity to clear up, and now you and I have a chance to. There's like, some of us say to go create a lot of listings, and then other coaches really criticize that and say you're missing the point. And I get what they're saying, but it's sort of like when there's a soundbite from the news and you don't actually hear the full sentence. You hear the first part where we said, put up 1,000 or 2,000 listings and you'll have success. The reason is because we're saying you need to go put up a bunch of crummy listings and, a ton of listings. Right. Who cares what they are, and you'll have success. It's because after you've created 1,000 listings, you will have enough data for sure. Like if you're asking me what's the tactic, since I don't know what your design skill level is, I don't know what your entrepreneurial journey is, I don't know what your background is. If I'm just going to give you a blanket thing, I can say, after you've created 1,000 listings, you're going to know what works and what doesn't work. And from there, you're going to be able to make more educated decisions.
Absolutely.
You could make a killing with 10 listings if they're really, really good, high demand that someone else can't copy, and you're just going to kill it. I totally agree with the coaches who say that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when someone's coming to me and their designs are like a little bunny rabbit on a white t-shirt, and they're like, this is going to make me $1 million. I'm like, that's going to literally cost you 20 cents plus all the ads that you spend on it. Yeah. And it's because their skill isn't there yet. Yeah. The more that you think about an artist. I went to art school for 2 years. We created so much crap. We had to paint and paint and sketch and sketch and sketch and sketch. And guess what? The first 1,000 sketches stunk.
Yeah.
But the 1,001 sketch, I got a C on instead of an F. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's why. So I really wanted to clear that, because when you and I are telling people go create a lot of listings, it's because at that point you will have more skill.
Yes.
And you will have more data. But go ahead, and I don't want to speak for you, but I really wanted to bring that up.
But then eventually you get to where I am, and now when I sit down to design, 90% of the time that's going to sell. Yeah. It might even be more than 90%. Like I know now because I did it so many times, plus having good niche research and SEO and all that kind of stuff. But like when I sit down to design, like I know it's most likely going to sell. Whereas when I was in that desperate energy and just like creating, like I didn't know what was going to sell. I had no idea. But like, with that time you learn, and then you start to create, like you take a look at your sales and what's selling, and then you do more of that. You build your shop off of what's working, what niches are selling, what design aesthetics are selling, and you build your shop off of what's working.
Hey, my friend. I'm just checking in to see how you're doing on your Etsy journey. Do you have all the support you need? I'm so honored that you're here listening to the podcast, and I want to make sure that you also know that I have a bunch more resources that can help you with your specific questions over in the resources section of my website. Whether your focus is print on demand, digital products, handmade items, and even more, there are tools and freebies and courses specific to your product type that are made by experts that I have already vetted for you. I don't know about you, but when I started my Etsy shop back in 2016, I was a busy mama and I didn't have oodles of time that was spare that I could just spend spinning my wheels trying to figure out Etsy completely on my own. I needed someone who knew what they were doing to teach me as efficiently and effectively as possible. And as soon as I was able to leverage the knowledge of an expert, I'm telling you, my personal results on Etsy went through the roof. Sales went literally from crickets to cha-chings within a week of implementing all of those things that I learned. So if you're looking for that kind of help, you want to get to the bottom of it, you want to get moving and grooving, where somebody who knows how your niche works on Etsy can show you the steps to start getting sales, come on over and visit my resources page at howtosellyourstuff.com/resources. And I'd love to connect you with the perfect expert for your business. I know their expertise will make all the difference in the world for you. So once again, that's howtosellyourstuff.com/resources, where you can find answers to your specific questions. I'll see you there. And it still falls into mindset, because the whole point is I'm trying to tell you that if you are brand new to Etsy and you think I'm going to put up 10 print on demand t-shirt designs and I'm going to make 6 figures and leave my job, your mindset is going to really hurt you. Yeah. So if I'm able to get you to where you'll have the mindset of, all right, I'll slug it out till I hit 1,000, then great. Then you are going to make it because you have the staying power and the mindset to trust yourself. And the other thing I wanted to say, because you already teed me up for it, is that I want people to know it gets easier, because as soon as you've already said this, but I'm going to reiterate it. As soon as you have had success in one thing, the next thing you go do, you've got momentum, because you're like, I did it here. So if they can do it and I did it here, I can do it in this new thing. And the mental load and emotional load gets a bit easier because you have some belief in yourself, which is something we lack on that first thing we try when we're doing, not that we don't ever cry again, but when we're doing the crying and the strong desperation and the really not knowing, you get stronger each time.
For sure.
Man, you got me on my soapbox.
1,000%. And I'm just thinking back to the whole children's book thing. I could have been... because that's really what started this, and I could have been upset that didn't take me, that I wasn't successful with that. So I think it's also when you're having a tough time with something, knowing that it's for a reason. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. I didn't it wasn't the end of the world that my book wasn't selling. I was just okay, there's something else, I don't know. I'm just mulling on that a little bit right now.
No, it's good, right? Yeah, I think that's so important. What you said about, I mean, I will tell anybody that if they stick it out long enough, they can make it on Etsy. But what if it takes you to something that can get you there faster? Just stay open, which this is perfect, because as we wrap up, I told you that we started a new tradition here a couple episodes ago where every, guest leaves a question for the next person. And this literally ties, I mean, talk about the synchronicity of it all. The last guest asked this question for you, Jenny, and they didn't know it was going to be you, and they didn't know what the topic was going to be, but she said, what is really easy for you and difficult for other people? So that is a question left by the last guest for you to answer. And if I know you, it's going to be perfectly aligned with this topic, this conversation.
I would say, I think just being open-minded and open to new opportunities, basically what I was saying earlier, do you think that makes sense? Do you think that?
A bajillion %. I think one of your major superpowers, and I noticed this from the very first moment. And you know what? There's a twofold to this. First of all, you approach the world from a curious perspective. Anytime I'm talking to you, there is never a shred of judgment. There is never a shred of negativity. You're always curious, and you're a strong woman. You don't necessarily agree, but you're curious and you ask questions, and this is the other part that's so important. You allow then other people to be who they are, and you don't need them to be like you. You don't need to control them. You're able to celebrate who they are, and they may not be a perfect alignment to you where you need to like have healthy boundaries, but you're so loving and open, like in every way, Jenny, not just about opportunities or you're the least greedy person ever.
Oh, thank you.
You just are so open and authentic. And that's like one of my favorite things about you. So I love that answer.
I really appreciate that compliment, and I accept that compliment because I do feel that way. Like I want everyone to win, and no matter what anyone's into, if it doesn't align with me, like I'm still happy for them, like do you, like stay in alignment and be authentic and do you, and I'm going to do me. So don't worry about what I'm doing.
Over there in Greece. You guys, literally her TikTok and her reels, I feel like I'm on a vacation every time I just go watch her videos. So Jenny, thank you so much. This was like so out of the box for us, but I'm really glad that you and I got to do it together.
Thank you so much too. I hope that it helps. I feel like I was a whirlwind of like just scatteredness, but I hope that it helps. And I think it's okay that we were kind of scattered on this, because that's the thing with mindset. Like we keep saying the word formula, like there's no formula to it. It's basically just listening to conversations like this one and listening to other mindset podcasts to help strengthen your mindset with success. And, reading self-help books might help as well. But yeah, there's no like exact formula. I would say it's like more practice, and just know like it's hard. Like even successful people like have daily, like I have to check myself daily.
Yes.
My voice today was talking to me, and I was like, you're not going to talk to me like that today. You have to, like, it's never ending. So it's definitely like, I would call it a practice. So just know like it doesn't come easy, but if you can get better with your mindset, your business will grow immensely.
And you don't have to be perfect, because positive, open-minded thoughts and affirmations are stronger than negative ones. Yeah. So if you can give equal airtime first and then ultimately more airtime to the positive, even if you're not perfect, you will still, you'll blow your own mind with what you can do, I think.
I agree. I love that.
So thank you so much, Jenny. Where can people learn more from you? Where would you like to suggest they visit?
Okay, so if you're looking for long form content, like I mentioned, you guys can be a part of my 100K subscriber journey on my YouTube channel. Someday I'll be on here and I'll be like, remember? So yes, I'm putting weekly videos up on my YouTube channel, Jenny from the Shop. And then if you want some short form content where I show a little bit more of my lifestyle in Greece through that as well, TikTok, Jenny from the Shop, and Instagram, it's Jenny from the Shop. It has "it's" in front of it. So
how funny. Jenny has such a creative name. Amazing.
Thanks.
Well, it's always a joy. It's just like being with family to have you here. So you're very beloved on the podcast.
Thank you.
And we'll have to do another episode. You guys let us know. I mean, we need all of the feedback to this. Like let us know what your aha moments are. Let us know if you loved it, if you hated it. You can tell me that too, or you could not. Either way, but let us know what you thought, because this was something we're partly doing it for us. Like we just really wanted to be able to have this chat, and we knew that the people who needed it and wanted it would come by the fireside with us. So I love you so much, girl, and thank you. And y'all, thank you for listening. I hope you're having an amazing week. And we are sending you all of the prayers, the good vibes, we're just cheering for you. We are so for you. So until next week, y'all go make something awesome, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com, where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.